The Arcturian Group, September 24, 2017. Homepage, www.onenessofall.com. Dear ones, the message for these changing times is an assurance that all is on track and the world has not lost its way. Rather, it is the obsolete belief system that is losing its way even as many struggle to hold it in place. False concepts and beliefs can only dissipate in the presence of ever-increasing energies of truth, where there is nothing to sustain them. Change for many has been unpleasant and not in alignment with the material sense of comfort and security. However, what is taking place is necessary for Gaia as well as all upon her in order to clear the multiple layers of dense energy formed of duality and separation that she has stored and carried through centuries. Incoming souls often choose to experience some sort of difficult or life-changing event during their lifetime on Earth. This is a free will, pre-birth choice made for purposes of learning something necessary for soul growth that perhaps they have long been ready for, but have not learned in easier lifetimes. Soul groups as well will often choose to experience something together in order to clear and resolve a collective karma. You are witnessing this now as certain groups around the world experience great loss and pain. The very things that seem so wrong according to three-dimensional thinking are often necessary and perfect in order to tip the balance forward for a soul or soul group. This does not mean you stand back and say, "Oh well, they chose this," but means you have a better understanding of world situations and from that place of awareness are able to send light and help without adding negative energy to the situation. The old no longer holds the power it once did because collective consciousness is becoming increasingly evolved. Individuals are awakening and beginning to acknowledge and reclaim their innate power. Those ignorant of their true identity as spiritual beings continue allowing others to take their power. Governments, churches, experts, corporations, and individuals who live from a righteous sense of empowerment, disguised as knowing what is best for them. In spite of appearances, love is becoming more and more prevalent on Earth, as individuals awaken into a new sense of connection and move beyond concepts of separation. This is the hidden gift of disasters. Love is being felt and expressed by many who do not understand that their desire to help others is actually love. Love flows in forms relevant to the attained state of consciousness of an individual who may himself simply see his actions as practical responses to some situation. There are those who always step in where they see a need, ordinary people providing clothing, food, and material goods while never considering their actions to be love. Others help on emotional and mental levels, providing guidance and support. This is love activities of oneness regardless of what it is called. The intense needs of so many at this time is serving to draw the world more deeply into love through service, which is why many choose pre-birth, to experience or be a part of some catastrophic event. As you already know, the more illumined and attained state of consciousness is, the deeper and more clear is the person's realization of love as being the connecting energy between the many within the one. Spiritual evolution is simply a journey in which every soul moves either quickly or slowly into increasingly higher levels of this awareness. All who in some way selflessly serve Gaia and her life forms are loving, even if they are only able to see it as doing their job or being practical, etc. At this point. There are some, often well-known people desirous of publicity whose present state of consciousness only allows them to perform actions of service primarily for purposes of receiving praise and attention from others, with no real concern for the recipients, be they people, plants or animals. However, even this low level of service can be the beginning point from which will unfold a deeper sense of service as love. It is important to understand the difference between loving and enabling. Many still believe that loving means doing whatever it takes to make someone else happy, often at the expense of their own personal power and growth. Other individuals' situations may very well be a part of their chosen pre-birth contract for learning, clearing, and moving beyond the active energies of some old cellular memory. Love is having one's hand ready to grasp the hand of another who is reaching out for additional help to their own efforts, but love is not a reaching down into the gutter in order to lift up someone out who is making no personal effort, or even seeing any need to be elsewhere. Individuals must themselves choose, consciously or unconsciously, to leave a gutter consciousness they themselves have created. If, in self-righteous zeal, a person tries to force another into a state of consciousness they may not yet be ready for, they remove the lesson and become an enabler. Many students of truth remain confused on this point because in their sincere effort to become loving they try to fix, heal, or change everyone struggling and not seeing the world as they do. This is done through words proselytizing, or action stepping in and changing things, or simply through sympathetic alignment, all of which will add energy to the situation. Love often requires a person to step aside and allow another to fall flat on their face, which can be very difficult when the other is a loved one. Never forget that the person's true nature is divine no matter what the appearances may be. This is the higher work, and if the other person is receptive or ready for change, your loving realization of his true nature can shift his awareness, allowing him to see and be more receptive to the bigger picture. Always trust your intuition in these types of situations. Does this person really want help, or is he simply looking for someone to ease his way back into his chosen lifestyle? There are certain individuals who thrive on being victims, because it brings the attention they crave with no effort other than to keep repeating and elaborating the details of their victimhood to anyone who will listen, which perfectly serves to produce more victim situations. You are creators. When another is sincerely trying to grow and change their life for the better and reaches out, that is when you firmly grasp their hand and assist them in whatever ways you are able, physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually, to where they themselves are choosing to be. It may simply be guiding them to where they can get the help they seek. It is difficult to determine these things strictly from observation, and is where your intuitive gifts must come into play. You are light workers, which means that you are evolved enough to engage with the world from levels of light and awareness, not according to three-dimensional concepts of love and service, which often include a surrender of personal power. Love never means being a doormat. Love is never about attempting to mold yourselves into the holy card image of a saint, with eyes lifted to heaven and hands folded meekly. Love often means taking a stand, and saying no when it is appropriate. Love allows others to experience and learn from their mistakes. Love is observant and knows the difference between a want and a need. Love is a recognition of every individual's true divine nature regardless of how far from that they may appear. Love is being willing to step in with guidance when asked, but is also the ability to step back when not asked. Love is being firm if your child, in his immaturity, is making bad choices, but love also allows him to experience the consequences of a bad choice. Love is the realization of oneness on all levels, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Love knows that all life forms express the one life. You are and can only ever be love, because love is the energy that flows in, as, and through all things. Love is not an emotion, although it often expresses through the emotions. Love is the divine engine that is God, with all its parts functioning in perfectly order infinitely by law, manifesting in the physical as the human heart. We are the Arcturian group,